Royal Rumble on the Dreamcast, which didn't feature enough people.
Yeah, so you did a Rumble, but people go out twice.
You got fucking 3 road dogs in the ring.
Why is there 2 Tazzies? I don't want 2
It's
Tazzies.
10 again. Hello and welcome back to the only wrestling podcast that exclusively rebooks, reviews and reimagines the worst of wrestling's past. We are Betrayal Creative, and as ever, I am joined to my right by ECW Hardcore Revolution, Sam Chen.
Hello, that won't back you. Hello.
Well, we'll discuss that. And to my left, by ECW Anarchy Rules, Jack Chance.
Hello.
He hates Anarchy Rules. And
Actually, that was slightly better, I think.
And I am your host, Confused Ben Chance. But today...
Backstage Assault.
Oh no, I'm not having that.
Yes, you have.
Today we are dusting off our Wrestlecup to hand it out to the worst wrestling game of all time. Doesn't necessarily have to be linked to WWE,
No.
or even WCW. As we've already mentioned, ECW may appear. It could be any wrestling game, but we are going to be giving it out. So, finally, Mabel could not win a Wrestlecup. Thank
I don't
God.
know if he's part of the roster. Technically, he wins.
I think so, yeah.
Has he ever appeared? He's got to appear as Beast, but
There's
never
this
as
one
Mabel.
like the Smackdown games, but not
There's
Dorothy.
never been a Mabel game.
That's true.
There's a gap in the market.
Yeah. Come on, 2K.
Get him as a legend.
Yes. Oh,
Legend
God.
Mabel.
So, yes, we are taking the 32 worst, in my opinion, considered wrestling
We haven't
games
got a
of all
choice, have
time.
we, Jack?
Well, I want to surprise you with some of the appearances.
I always like that.
But the rules of Wrestlecup state it is an open draw. There is no seeding in
Yes.
Wrestlecup. So it could be
As far as we know.
you could have some behemoths facing each other in the first round. Who knows? So we will get to it with our opening match. Our opening match sees WWF Steel Cage Challenge on
Two-player mode.
on the Master
Oh,
System.
God.
Go up against on the Game Boy Advance Legends of Wrestling 2.
Shit.
Oh, that's too good. That's too good.
That's when the sprites all looked slightly the same.
That was awful. Yeah, you had to complete like a career.
Career to get
60 odd
one
matches to
wrestler.
unlock one person.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you had to unlock about 30.
I think
at the
we've
same
still
time-
only unlocked 2.
Yeah, like Bruno and Bob or something like that.
Or Rocky Johnson, I think is the other one.
Fucking hell.
At the same time, the Steel Cage challenge, if you played it as a single player, if you walked toward the cage, the opponent just watched you climb the cage. And if you played it as 2-player, it might have just been ads, but one of them couldn't move.
Yeah, and
That
IRS was
was
bold.
And IRS didn't have any air. So, again, I suppose we've got to take into context the time and also the limitations of what it came out on as well. As both of you, I would imagine, are at least aware and have probably played them.
Yeah.
I'm going to open with you, Sam, as you ponder, for whom we'll be going through out of those two.
As the worst one. I think Steel Cage. Personally, because you can't play as 2-player, whereas on the Game Boy, I know you had the link, you could still at least move as a second player. And I've got a little bit more of a fonder memory for Legends of Wrestling 2, personally. So I'm going to say Steel Cage.
Because I think there's a hair's breadth between them, I think I am going to make it interesting and say Legends of Wrestling 2, just to keep it interesting for
They're
you.
interesting because there's a gulf between them for me.
and it's Legends of Wrestling 2 on the Game Boy Advance. Because it's awful. The sprites,
it is terrible.
It's ugly. The move animations are shit, and you can't unlock anybody without going through about 50 matches, which is annoying. And there's no cheats.
That's true. Yeah,
I agree. We need more cheats in video.
Well, if you're going to have that, at least give me the option to get around it.
That's true.
To unlock all the
I don't want to play 60 hours to unlock.
I agree, but it's still got some sort of charm.
And you are definitely, in that sense, saying that you'll give a pass to Bald IRS.
Yeah, not being able to move us to Tonka's player too.
What roster had Papa Shango and
Papa Shango, Mountie, Tatanka,
what year? 91, 92?
It's like 92.
See, it's a decent roster.
Hogan just always appeared. Even
well, I mean, Legend of Wrestling is the Legends of Wrestling.
Well, yeah. But, fuck me, they look awful.
Right then, well, we open hot and we move on. We go to WWF European Tour Rampage, which I think is the 4. You only were able to pick from 4, which was Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, Warrior, and Brett. And then you appeared in tag matches in the UK, in France, in Germany, and then European Rampage ends in Madison Square Garden.
With no European
LOD. I think it's the Natural Disaster, and I think Money Inc. and the main events. And
imagine if you unlocked them after beating them, that'd be better.
But you don't. And that is going up against. We've lost the rights to our good games to WWE, so we're now going to present WCW Mayhem, which is their first non. I think it was
Electronic Arts.
Yes, yeah.
EA Sports.
It's not great. Yeah, it's not fun. I'll open. I'm gonna go European Rampage because the limitations, how they made that, because they can make a bigger roster.
Yeah, a better game.
And this is the time when WWE was doing bloody the good, what's it called, Wrestling Challenge, and what's the one that on the arcade?
WrestleFest and everything like
Even though that was tag team based, a lot of the time, it was much better than this.
Yeah.
I am going to say European Rampage. Jack?
Yeah, I'm going to say European Rampage as well. It's shite.
I'm going to say it as well. I think if you look at it, if you had more like one-on-one and you could pick like about 10, 12 wrestlers, it looks okay, but how limited is like you pick 2 wrestlers, that's it.
Yeah.
It's too limited.
And I've never seen a tag team between Brett and Hulk Hogan. It doesn't make any sense. So yes, moving forward, it's WWF at European Rampage too. Our next match then sees WWF Just Bring It Smackdown, where it was disappointing as it went
first
into
one on the PS2. Was it?
PS2. It was disappointing because of the lack of features. It had K-Quick. And it didn't have K-Quick.
It had Jerry Lee.
It had Jerry Lee.
And Fred Durst.
I'll take it back.
And it had Fred Durst.
Versus Celebrity Deathmatch. Which, by any stretch of the imagination, is fucking shit.
How dare you?
And it featured Dennis Rodman was on it, wasn't it?
Dennis Rodman.
Is it like 12
Marilyn
to 16?
Yeah,
there's
about 16 people.
Carrot Top was on it, wasn't it?
Carrot Top, Ron Jeremy, Nicole.
Anyone who'd sold the rights for a $5.
Anybody, you couldn't get all the main players, so you got all the people who now got lawsuits against JH. Well, that's the Russian who took off for these. More days on it.
Yeah, it was
Prince. Got a Hall of Famer in
Prince Andrew on it.
Prince Andrew, Jimmy
Savile, Ralph Harris.
He had a great finish.
That's a different game. Jack, before we get a lawsuit.
Celebrity Deathmatch is going through. Just Bring It was bad for some things, but it was still okay. But I think most games, when they first go into a new system, it took them a while to get to grips with it.
It was just quite limited, weren't it? The roster wasn't quite deep.
They had 8. It was the first time you could have 8 on the screen, which was new.
But you wrestled in the crowd on...
They had the crowd, which was a bit shit.
Yeah.
The backstage was alright, but the season mode was awful. You had to play like 4 matches, and that was easy.
Yeah, you had to find a tag partner.
Yeah, find a tag partner on.
Billy, go on!
Oh yeah, Vince just comes and said, "You're on a team with Test." No.
You're making me think that I should put.
Yeah, but if you was Albert, wouldn't you go get?
Yeah, if you chose Albert.
I suppose it would be worse if he comes and you want a team with Carrot Top. Sam,
it's celebrity death. Because I don't know if I've got it or I've put it on my list yet, and I still haven't been able to play it. You bought it. It won't work. Would it
work on yours?
I think that's my PS2 though. I'm old and crap.
I bought it from it. No, it's the game. I bought it from a charity shop here. I just thought I might as well buy it. It is shit. It's still shit.
At least you gave to charity though. So Celebrity Deathmatch flies through. Next match is it's glitchy. It's WWE 2K20, of course, going up against WWF Raw on Xbox.
Oh, God, that's not angry.
And Haku.
That is shit.
For some reason, they just had big boxes on the ramp that you had to smash to get a weapon.
With half your head.
Plant pots and swords.
But Becky Lynch's face escaped on WWE 2K20.
Well, I think a lot of things escaped from 2K20.
Sam?
You know what? I'm going to go for Raw. Purely because, at least from what me and Jack have proven, just play Universe mode and don't play the actual game. So at least you've got that.
If you don't actually play the game, it's alright.
It's alright.
Well, I'm going to go with 2K20 because I think, again, as we said, you've got to understand the limitations of the device. And Raw is pretty shit. But 2K20,
that was
it should have been. Even if they'd have just rinsed and repeated it, it would at least been a playable game. You know, if they would just released 2K19 just with 20, it would have been playable.
That was actually loaded as a really good game, wasn't it? 2K19.
It's because they dropped nukes, and because they had this new thing and they tried to make it different. So they had this new control system, which is shit. And then it was buggy and unfinished, but they had to meet a deadline.
Well, I'm going 2K20, so it's a deadlock. We're taking it to deadlock.
As 2K20's going through, it's wank, it's awful, it's shit, it's buggy, the control system's shit, the DLC's shit. I mean, Raw looks better than 2K20, and that's only the Xbox One. Well, of course, the Xbox One, because it's Xbox One, so the original.
Yeah, bloody Xbox 2.
And it looks better than fucking 2K22, 20 even.
I mean, I know what's going through the next one as well, but it is a surprise. So, yes, next match is WWF WrestleMania on the NES, which is, if you have played it or seen it, the ring is massive.
Is that the one with Bam Bam? Is that the very first?
Proper
the very first.
Yes, well, I think it's like. And Hogan at the start. Hogan at the start is doing that.
Yes.
And he looks like the oldest man you have ever seen.
I played that when I spent a day in hospital, and they had the games, and that was the only wrestling game, and I remember playing it.
Is that why you was in hospital? Just went in just to play
I went in for the day and I come out for a month.
I'll take that game and I raise your WWF Royal Rumble on the Dreamcast, which didn't feature enough people.
Yeah, so you did a Rumble, but people come out twice.
You got fucking 3 road dogs in the ring.
Why is there 2 Tazzies? I don't want 2
It's 10! I mean, it's an easy one for me. Again, appreciating the NES wasn't a great game, but it was littered with a lot.
First WWF license.
Yeah, it was. They at the very least had an excuse because they hadn't done anything else.
And you could do a cartwheel around the ring with Bam Bam.
There is no excuse to having the WWF license, then going with I know what we're going to choose Royal Rumble, but we don't have enough to do a Royal Rumble. So Royal Rumble goes.
How many was it? Was it 20 or 20?
21, I think.
Yeah, it was about. There was always like about 7 or 8 repetitions.
Al Snow got on it, I think.
Al Snow.
The roster as well is weird. Like
Al Snow, Taz,
the Hardys,
Rock
Rikishi. You've got obviously the ones that are always been on it, and then you just got like Edge and Christian, the Hardys, Al Snow, Taz.
Yeah, too cool, aren't they?
Rikishi.
It's strange.
I just remember that being in game.
I assume this is going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be that. I mean, you can't have repeated wrestlers, and it's an arcade game. It shouldn't be released on a console.
No.
Poor Dreamcast owners.
And considering the game's called Raw Rumble, surely
That's
you
what
would
I mean,
think, what's the thing of the Raw Rumble? There's 30.
Yeah.
Have at least 30 people on the.
If you can only, if the limitations of the game will only allow you to have sort of 20 odd wrestlers, don't fucking call it Royal Rumble.
I mean, you had the Road to
fully
WrestleMania.
loaded, but crap shot.
You had Road to WrestleMania on the Game Boy Advance. That had 24 on it, but it don't call itself Royal Rumble, so you don't have you know.
I assume you were putting through Royal Rumble.
Yes, Royal Rumble shit.
Our next one then is WWF does Mortal Kombat badly. It's WWF in your house.
It's in your house.
In your house versus.
I like it.
This is going to be difficult for Jack Sam, especially because he said he likes In Your House. Legends of Wrestling 1, which is full of boring
I don't actually think it's going to be that bad.
Oh, okay. Whereas where the matches are exactly the same, and you see Hulk Hogan denying brain busters. But then again, In Your House, when you replay In Your House, you realise how bad it was as well, and the littering of the ring with the powers all
white WWF.
Yeah, you could be winning the match.
Yeah, but you had Vince just shouting randomly.
But then the best bit of In Your House is listening to the sound effects afterwards, isn't it?
But don't get too far with the theme, because you have to then go through the
all back.
I'm Ed Johnson.
Jack?
Pin him.
I'm going to go with Legends of Wrestling 1.
Is the worst.
Yeah, I think it was bad mechanics. The career mode was a bit like shit.
It was half finished, or I knew what they was doing.
There was a good premise, and it was nice to have a different game on the shelves, but it just felt a bit that they hadn't finished the game, and the mechanics and shit, and the camera angles shit.
Yeah, some of the
they're so unresponsive at times. It's hard to play.
So slow, and when you play like a Fatal 4-Way tag or something,
it just goes laggy.
It's just very laggy.
I assume you're saying that.
Yeah, again, Plug Wrestling Bios, because he did a review of it. It's too slow. Even when you do one-on-one, it's so slow.
In Your House.
In Your House is a bit more fun to
you
play.
got Vader turned into a bull. I mean,
it's the last game with Warrior.
Some of the problem is they just try too much bloody things, because you don't need them power-ups, and the mechanics of the way the ring works and stuff. But I would have picked Legends of Wrestling as well.
You could tell it's the first game in maybe what they was trying.
And you got 40 odd people on the roster, and half of them are Von Erichs. All of them money. Where's Kamala?
That's true. He was in the trailer. He got took off, and when you play, put him in a call.
Kamala.
Don't worry though, because the big boys are in play now.
There we go.
The next match is, I say it's the big boys, but Sam's already said he don't mind it, which is bizarre. It's ECW Hardcore Revolution / Anarchy Rules, because they're the same game.
This is the one that you mentioned.
Yeah. So I've combined them together, going up against the behemoth that is WCW Backstage Assault. I mean, the thing is, Hardcore Revolution is awful. Like, it really is awful when you play it back.
It's just attitude with ECW
but bad as well. Like,
well, it's just an ECW skin, and it does nothing ECW.
It's
not true to the product.
Yeah, the tables and weird and the
shit. Anarchy Rules.
Anarchy Rules is slightly better because you got different modes.
There are more modes, and they simplified the control scheme. Yeah. But it's still just the same engine, which means it's the same game. Really.
Yeah.
So it's still shit.
Just pumped up a bit.
And they didn't they just add random wrestlers that weren't in ECW as well?
Oh, yeah. The career for the stables, because they wanted a stable career and you had more people. They had, like, made up Esophagus and Bugger and all these people. But added random made-up characters, about 15 of them.
I mean, that's just annoying.
I have played a lot of it, though.
I remember the Anakin Raws, particularly for like the stable rumble, which I think was on Attitude as well, where you did that. So I think just for the game modes, it's different to what you normally get in a wrestling.
When you talk about different, then you talk about different modes. I mean, about a game that doesn't have there's not a ring.
Look, if you see fucking Vince Russo's character in this, he looks like Bunkhouse Buck in it, and Hogan wears a vomit yellow onesie in one of his.
Is that one of his?
Attires.
I mean,
for all of them.
4 attires and it's Backstage Assault that's going through. It's just terrible.
You're saying Backstage Assault?
Yeah, it's shit.
Also, boy.
Oh yeah, I am as well. The graphics are awful. They can only do one-on-ones or finish around.
See, the thing with the ECW games, they got the hand-me-downs. Basically, WCW, because that was number 1 at the time, they got, obviously, was it Revenge World Tour?
Yeah.
Or what have you. Then WF got out, so they went to WF. WCW tried with EA, so WF left the claim and the Attitude and whatever, so they just went, well, we want a wrestling game. Well, there's ECW, we can't get WCW, let's just get this other one. I think that's basically what it was.
With Backstage Assault, the annoying thing is that even though the WCW product was poor, it's not too difficult to make a game that wrestling fans will buy.
Yeah.
Wrestling fans, they like stuff to do with wrestling. The one thing you don't do is then remove the ring. Like, I mean, what a stupid thing to do.
It's so bad.
We've got a wrestling game that isn't wrestling.
It takes forever to unlock it. I have never unlocked everyone. Still.
Yeah, I used to wait for a lot of the high
roster, and it's so hard to unlock.
Have you got Doug Dillinger?
I always think that's a bad thing to do anyway, in terms of you insulting the wrestling fans to say
the menu's weird.
You know, some of the big players that you want to play with, you can't play with straight off. It just doesn't make much sense to me.
And if you look at the actual wrestlers, Sid and Flair look the same, except Sid's got a vest.
Them awful.
I was going to say
they're just terrible.
They are awful. So that flies through. And our last of the top half is WWF Survivor Series for the Game Boy Advance, going up against Hulk Hogan's main event.
Well, there's your winner.
Well, you say that, you know what, that's got to go up.
Well, it's going through this round, though.
It's going through this round.
I mean, Survivor Series, as bad as it's not great, it is limited by the Game Boy Advance anyway. But it's not a great game.
It's not a great game, but
it's got about 6 moves each.
6 moves. You got 16 wrestlers, and I think it was the last of the.
Who are the 16 wrestlers?
You got 8 from Raw, 8 from Smackdown, and Chavo made it for the Smackdown. So Rey Mysterio's on it, and it's the same size as Taker, which is funny.
Taker, Kane, all these.
It's basically WrestleMania X8, just reskinned.
Reduced.
Yeah,
and you do get a career. I mean, it's very, very limited. At least they try to do a story mode on it.
Yeah.
Do you like the fact that Hulk Hogan just tagged his name onto something that?
Is that the one where
it's like Punch Out, where Hogan's the main one, but
it's a kinetic game.
Yeah, and he looks weird, Howie Hogan.
Everything looks weird in that game.
It is like some sort of like warped. It's drug induced.
I
would
still play Survivor Series now, because I actually quite like the Game Boy Advance games. Even the Legends of Wrestling 2 probably the bottom. But if you look at the wrestling games on Game Boy Advance, they ain't too bad. Like Road to WrestleMania is probably the best one. And then you got like Survivor Series and WrestleMania X8. It's just got fond memories.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think it's unanimous.
Yeah,
because it makes the last of the top half.
Is that the game that he was in to take the phone call from?
Yeah. For George Foreman Grill. That,
I missed that because I was picking up the kids.
I made the right choice.
We get 2 appearances of WrestleMania in an opener for the bottom half. It's Super WrestleMania.
Which one?
that one.
No, I mean, but there's 2 versions, though.
Either one, take your pick.
Which one? Because one had more wrestling.
We played Mega Drive.
So we played.
So we were going for the Mega Drive. Yes, that's what we played.
Okay. Versus Legends of WrestleMania. Oh, the WWE version. It's when they promised this new big game, reinvent the wheel or whatever it's called, and then it was boring. You couldn't really do a great deal.
Well, it took arcadey, didn't it?
Yeah, but it was. That didn't go like All Stars though, did they? It was.
No, it was an arcade style in terms.
All Stars hadn't come out yet.
And the tried to do this stuff, but the graphics was good.
Yeah. I like the start where they do the Hogan and Andre in-game, out-game sort of.
And the actual reliving of the WrestleMania things was a good concept.
Yeah, the relive, rewrite,
but it's hard to replay it because you do a match and it's over in like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
You can finish it quick.
But you could get people onto that as well.
Smackdown v Raw 09.
The 09 roster. Except but they all had white sort of hue around them, so they look weird compared to the other.
And in Smackdown v Raw 09, there was a few legends that you could download which wasn't on Smackdown on Legends of WrestleMania, but you couldn't import them. So you couldn't have Doink, Quake, Vader, and the Bushwhackers, who you got on Smackdown v Raw 09. But you couldn't import them onto Legends of WrestleMania.
In this list as well.
But you could have Festus versus King Kong Bundy.
Is there anyone particularly unique to the Legends of WrestleMania game?
Michael Hayes, because
he should never appeared in WrestleMania.
No, it should have been Mick Foley, but he turned up in TNA, so they went, fuck you, we'll get Michael Hayes.
They keep his matches and have Foley, Michael Hayes just imported over Foley with Foley's movesets.
Did IRS appear on Legends of WrestleMania?
No,
but it did appear on Super WrestleMania with the most annoying theme that you've ever heard in your life.
How did he get on it?
Did he ever have that?
He was only on the Mega Drive version. He wore on the other version.
Did he ever have? He did have hair. Did he ever? He ever have that theme in WWE?
I'm pretty sure I have found a show where he does have it. But I think then
give him tense.
I think
it's already on.
When he wins that battle royal on the Raw 15th anniversary, it's like a news bulletin theme. I think that was mainly his theme, or Ted's theme because it's a tag.
It's Ted. So it's more difficult because they're not necessarily that bad. I suppose this is where it's difficult.
Yeah. It is difficult.
You've got to take it time.
These probably would have been cannon fodder for a lot.
Right.
So I'm gonna open with. I'll say Super WrestleMania because it's more limited in terms of what you can play and replay.
And we're just saying the Mega Drive one.
Yeah.
I'm going to do Legends of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Purely because I think you expected a little bit more than what you got.
I think that's reasonable.
I think it's a good roster, but I just don't think the game plays enough.
And you could have done so much with that game.
Oh, you could.
And you could still bring that game out now. That concept.
You can always do that sort of stuff. It'll always sell.
But when you do it shit, that's the
I've got to go with Super WrestleMania.
I do.
Because I was saying even for years before, WWE could do a Legends game. And obviously WrestleMania was the big sell and what have you. And I still think they could do it, even just using the 2K engine and just having the Legends. That would sell. Even if they just did a WCW one, how much would that sell? That would never do.
No, but I get you got so the beauty of wrestling fans is there's so much nostalgia attached to it.
The Super WrestleMania, I do, again, just being a kid, and that's the first game I ever remembered being able to pull off the finishes for all 8 wrestlers on it.
You did.
I don't think I won a match, but I did all 8 finishes.
Well, the problem for it is. With Super
and we used to play it at Nan's.
The 3 count takes about 10 years.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Hey! And the ref was there with the square red and the blonde hair. Hey!
So, yes, that flies through. Surprising second round appearance. And our next match sees the appearance of Backyard Wrestling 1 or 2. Take a pick.
Probably worse than 2.
Well, some people say 2 is worse than 1.
They're both shit.
That's big on 2. 1, the model's awful.
Which one did you buy me and I didn't have?
I've got them both. I didn't buy you one. I bought 2 and it gave me one's disc. So I had to plug it in.
So you get
I got 3 copies of 2, and 2 of them were number 1. And I already had 1. Got 3 copies.
I still haven't played it.
I know you won't play.
No one can ever accuse you of
but
not
I have
being
got
arrested.
two lots of Smackdown Shut Your Mouth.
Oh, yeah,
Because,
oh no.
oh no, I think...
Don't worry, this does not appear in this list.
No, I thought it was Scott that bought me the Tiger Woods game. Side note here. Tiger Woods 2004, the one that I played with him. And when I opened it, I thought, there's another disc in here. This Smackdown Shut Your Mouth. So I had the
a weird combination of games.
It was from Zex, so thanks, Zex.
Yeah, he looks like a wrestling player.
He bought me the boat, he's got bought.
That is going up against another Xbox game. It's WWE, or it might be WWF. No, it's got to be WWE. WWE WrestleMania 21. Which had a new engine, and it was awful.
Ooh.
I mean, really awful.
I played that once, that's terrible.
Really bad.
Weird look.
But it's not backyard wrestling, though, is it?
No.
I mean, when you have to have one of the...
Well, when the storyline is basically, I am on Jeremy Kyle / Jerry Springer.
when you're
That's
selling...
basically what the storyline is.
When you're selling a game with New Jack and Shaggy Two Dope on the...
that was number 2.
Right.
It depends which
Supreme?
one you're going with.
I put both. So you can... I'm going to put it as a concept. That's fine. I'm going to have it as a... I'm going to have it as a concept. I am going to say...
I was on one.
I am going to say backyard wrestling because it's cack, really, it is. So I'm going to, you can take it to
the if it was backyard wrestling 1, I'd go for that because it's shit.
It's part of it's the package.
It's difficult.
So see how much
it was good.
But number 2, I like. It's got Supreme on, for God's sake. I
can't just like a game because it has
but I do like the Backyard Wrestling 2. I do.
You
still
are
play
the one.
I still play it, but
that's because you're jobless.
I'm doing the WrestleMania 21
because you've got to.
It is
and
there's a part in it where you do a fucking cage match with Kane and Fatal 4, and you call with it. I swear.
Jack, have you still stuck on it?
It is so hard.
It's awful.
Jack, you've probably still in the middle of playing.
Gamers say that game is like just broken.
It's just crap.
It is boss.
It's lovely graphics at times, but some of it's awful. And yeah, I'm going
to got Garrison Kane on.
Yeah, it's got Lydia.
And
appearance.
Greg Valentine, one of the legends.
That's Derek.
That's.
Well, I'm gonna go for 21 then, just because I've got a love for backyard wrestling.
No,
backyard wrestling as a concept, or
I'm going for backyard wrestling just because I hate it in general. That, and I want to piss Jack off because he still give me that game. Even though I had it for free, I'm still never going to play it.
I don't think you ever played.
So don't worry, because talk about weird concepts next. We've got WWE King of the Ring on the SNES, which is not great, versus...
it's going to be Betrayal.
Yeah, it's Betrayal, which sponsored WWF.
Oh no, Betrayal's not here yet. WWF.
Oh, he is in the tournament.
Crush Hour.
Oh, where Vince took over telly.
That's going to happen.
Cooking with Kate,
basically. Versus WWF King of the Ring on the SNES. SNES.
King of the Ring.
Crush Hour.
Yeah, well, it's Twisted Metal, basically, but with WWF Crush Hour.
Yeah, but it's not as good as
Junkyard Dog had a car on it.
Yeah, it was going to be on it, I think. But I don't mind Crush Hour. I don't mind Crush Hour. It's different, but I don't mind it.
I think that's the thing.
I think they should do that more. They should do 1 year they do a game, and then they just update that through DLC. It should be free DLC, but they'll always charge me.
Of course.
And then another year they should go for a concept game.
Where Vince has taken over TV and making people broadcast.
Why not?
Well, until the shush.
You can't make a game of Cooking with Kane.
I'm going to go with
Cooking Mama, but it's Kane.
I'm going to go with Crush Hour. It was the game. It was a game I never wanted.
You could drive around as Chuck Palumbo. So what do you want?
And he was Chucky at that time. He was gay Chuck Palumbo.
That's me.
But it helps, Sam. Of course, say that these days.
He did.
It was the gimmick.
It was the gimmick at the time.
The war game. It was a ruse.
Yeah, it was a ruse. So I'm going to Deadlock. Crush Hour or King of the Ring, Sam. You let us know.
I've got to go with King of the Ring just because it's one I haven't played. I have played Crush Hour and it's different.
And you don't mind
it's something. Yeah, it's something else.
Crush Hour.
Even though it might be shit, at least I tried something. Whereas King of the Ring, although obviously that was the premise of it, and it had a fairly decent roster.
You're putting it through. Both you're putting that through on the basis that WWE tried something.
Betrayal.
Next up, WWF Betrayal versus WCW Red or Blue, Nitro or Thunder. Rinse or repeat. Carry a chair above your head as you run out. It's a surprise attack.
I'm sure this is going to be a whitewash, aren't we?
Oh no, without no doubt. I mean, I will try and make the argument that Nitro and Thunder is literally the same, no matter who you pick.
You picked Glacier and went through the career.
Other than one match. Other than one
cannot get away with that.
It's exactly the same match.
It is, and you had all them the starfish.
But it did have the rants, which are legendary.
Hey man,
and I mean WWF Betrayal is shit.
It is.
How dare you? It's a side scroller.
Yeah, a bad one.
4.
Game of Color, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Work with Vince.
That ain't even a good concept.
Yeah.
Why not? It's like Streets of Rage.
Awful.
Maybe that's what's happening now.
Well, I'm saying it's Betrayal.
Well, I know it's going through, but I would have picked Thunder.
Really?
Yes.
Just to piss us off.
No, just because you fucking shit. Awful Thunder is.
I like Thunder.
Can you imagine, if you didn't have the cheats, can you imagine how long it would take to unlock everyone, including the starfish and the two-headed bloke, and all the THQ staff going on?
As
no wrestlers, you.
Right,
what you putting yourself on it?
Right, the THQ and everything. Okay, I understand that. Nitro, but again, this is just me because I'm not a big gamer.
Got Regal.
I would have kept just the roster that you had. I'm not bothered about unlocking the rest. Because I think, me personally, as a casual gamer, I'd have been alright with just them.
Ric Flair weren't on it though, was it?
Well, that's because of all the lawsuits.
It was on
Thunder. He was like very low.
But you had to. There was a 32 that you unlocked, and then he was in the next slot with Public Enemy. And
PG and on.
It's exactly the same match, isn't it? It's exactly the same match.
The ones that didn't have
you can have Starfish versus Double Edge, and it's the same as Hogan versus Flair.
No, what happened is you had the main 32. You had the main 32 which had rants, which included Anvil and Bulldog. Then you had the other 32 which had entrances, which had like Eddie, Ric Fuller, and others. And then you had the rest, which included Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Mean Gene.
Ric Flair didn't have an entrance.
Nope. Flair and Arn didn't have an entrance.
Poor Arn. Right.
But I still like Thunder. And Nitro. And the demo thing, I just always remember getting it with Hogan Sting endlessly.
Next match then sees SmackDown v Raw 2009, widely considered the worst in the SmackDown v Raw.
Even on Friday.
That's what people have said.
Yeah.
I was going based on list. I can't remember playing them that much, and they all sort of blur into one. Versus WCW Super Brawl, which you might not have played a lot of, but I can absolutely tell you the only thing that they got right is they did it to Fire Pro Wrestling,
the Diamond Ring Gate.
But the hit detection's terrible, and the select screen.
When you go for it, they do like a little bit of an animation.
But it's awful. Like, really bad.
It's like 92, because you got Rick Rude, Vader.
It's quite a decent
It's a good roster, but when you look at it, you can tell this is an old game.
It's not a very good game either. I wanted it to be alright. Yeah. But I can't really say a great deal about SmackDown v Raw 2009. I looked at countless lists and it was the lowest on everyone. It is the lowest rated SmackDown v Raw game. Worse. I think it might be because 08... Well, I thought 08 was where they lost...
PS3.
Wasn't it where they lost the creator something or other?
08 was the first on the next gen, and it tried this...
It lost GM mode. It was the first one without GM mode.
No, it had GM mode. On 9 they have GM mode.
So that could have been what it was. People was up their arse.
Annoyed because they didn't have the GM mode.
I'm going for Super Brawl anyway.
Alright.
Is that an affirmative for Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'd go with Super Bowl.
Fucking elephants walked in.
Yeah. It's hard to grade the Smackdown games, to be honest.
Yeah, because a lot of them were very similar.
They're very similar.
I would have gone for Super Bowl because I played Super Bowl for about 2 hours and it's not a great.
I played for about 2 minutes as well. I lost to Rick Rude against Scott Stein.
This is a beast. Right, so you got Fire Pro Wrestling on Xbox Live, where they ruined the fuck out. We're gonna bring Fire Pro to the console.
No, it was on Xbox 360.
It was about a few years ago, and then it was just basically your avatar, like your Wii man,
right,
in wrestling with big heads.
Yeah,
it was weird and awful. Versus. I mean, it's not going to win anyway, Fire Pro, because it's against Simpson Wrestling, which...
Forgot about that.
I knew that was going to be in the tournament. Come on, James. I would have said Backstage Assault.
It's got wrestling in it.
No.
I mean...
It's not wrestling. You don't wrestle.
The case for the defence of well, it's not... There's no defence for Simpson.
The problem with... If you'd have just called it Xbox Wrestling,
yeah, you'd have been
got away with it.
Everyone was so excited to have Fire Pro. It's going to be on the console. That's exactly what we wanted, especially in the American and the British audience. And then they gave you wrestling sprites. It was awful. But even that had better hit detection and was a better game than just watching...
They have Bumblebee, man.
Flanders versus Bumblebee.
Where's Troy McClure?
Far too big a ring. And that's true. I agree. There's better choices for the roster
than Bumblebee.
Bumblebee.
I think it was only like about 12 even then.
Yeah, done lost 1 or 2, I think.
Yeah, you had like the Simpsons family, Ned and Barney, and that was it.
Apu.
And then you had to unlock
Apu, and then they'd probably have to take him off.
Well, yeah, you can't have that.
Can't have him.
How dare
you? Bumblebee, man, right? Who obviously isn't culture.
Yeah, that's all right.
And I think that's... Again, I'm going to pick that because he's the only one I played and he's shit. I don't even realise Fire Pro come out on Xbox when you said it. No, it's not.
It's not Fire. It's only Fire Pro in name.
When you said it, I thought this had the PS2 one that we've got. Is it?
No. I've got that.
Still got a win on it.
I played both of them, and unfortunately for you, Jack, I'm not going to make it interesting. Simpson Wrestling is terrible.
Well, Simpsons Wrestling is a worse game, but I am more offended that it has the Fire Pro.
Yeah, you got.
But as a game, if you just take away that it's called Fire Pro and it's called the Xbox Avatar Wrestling,
Xbox Wrestling, just something like that.
I'd have given it a D instead of an F.
I think there's again. Wrestling, but I think in Japan they released some series of games where they just called it wrestling. And the wrestling game is just Smackdown 1, but it's all generic. But they did like a football game, a golf game.
They do that a lot.
And it's just basically it's the same engine, exactly the same everything.
Yeah.
Just obviously not the license.
They do that just to try out the engine a lot of the time, anyway, and just get it out.
I want to see the football one. What was they trying there?
I don't know.
Did they still have Robbie Williams thing? It's totally off on it.
So we've got 4 more choices.
2,000 in a word.
4 more choices to come. Penultimate match is non-WWE or WCW titles going against each other. It's 5-Star Wrestling. Going up against TNA Impact.
Yeah. Which version?
5-Star Wrestling, is that the one on the mobile?
PS2 or PS3?
PS2.
Alright.
I don't know which is worse, but I'll go with PS2.
PS2.
I think
I've got one of them, I still haven't played it.
I completed the career mode on thingy, but it was boring. It was boring and terrible. And I've never played 5-Star Wrestling, but I've seen it and it's terrible.
Yeah. Is that the one where they've got like RVD Goldberg, but it's not RVD Goldberg?
They haven't got.
It's on the mobile. I thought it was
on PlayStation.
It's on the
was it on the thing?
It's awful though. As well, it feels like a game that should have come out like 10 years before it did. It plays like a really old retro.
Oh, is it like Ron
game.
Mysterio or something like that?
It's just Ron Mysterio. But it didn't have the money behind it that TNA Impact did to pull out that.
TNA Impact had money behind it.
Well, it had more money than 5-Star Wrestling, you would assume. And that's where you had the birth of Suicide.
Yeah, because he's the career character.
But it was an awful game, so I'm going to go for TNA Impact.
Well, I'm going to go 5-Star Wrestling.
I'm going 5-star.
5-Star Frog Splash.
You know I'm a TNA boy, so...
Get rid of that, get it out. And then our last game we definitely all of us have played probably countless hours of, because they are back-to-back games from WWF. WWF Warzone versus WWF Attitude.
Mm. Which one's worse?
This is an hard one. This is
because there is some good things about Warzone. You've got
the N64 version as well, which is a different one.
You have got Ahmed Johnson's rant. You have the cool.
I'm on N64.
You have the cool little thing where you're going up the tiers, whereas Attitude is you just punch around in the dark for something to happen. Really,
Kurgan.
But
Head.
It has
Head.
It has got more wrestlers on it.
4 attires for Head. Don't know where it changed though, but you got 4 attires for everyone.
I know what I'm going for, Sam.
Well, I think I'm going to go for Warzone just because of how limited it was. Attitude built on it a bit more.
I'm going for Warzone.
Yeah, no, I
And I just remember us renting Attitude from Blockbusters about 2 months in a row.
Until they just get us a copy.
Basically, we just said to Dad every week, just get that again.
Yeah, you might as well buy it, you know.
Nah. Spend £100 renting it. Cheap. The only good thing with Warzone is I just kept restarting the career to make sure that the IC champ, which was the end of the second tier, was Mosh. Because it used to make me smile.
Did you try to get Mosh and one of the Thrashers?
Thrashers champ.
Because on the N64 you actually could do a Royal Rumble. Come there.
It is a strange roster as well, though, when you think that you've got 97's roster, which was pretty healthy, and they picked the headbanger.
And it come out sort of like mid to end 98. Brett had already gone.
Yeah.
Bulldog had gone. Ahmed had gone. It's just what happened with WF games later on. So half the people had already gone.
Look at the fucking latest one. Half the people have been released. Until it comes out.
But if you go on the website, they don't advertise them. You have to click on 2K22 roster.
Is that right?
And then it shows them all.
So we're flying through it then now. We're into our last 16. Last 16. And so our opening match is Steel Cage Challenge going up against European Rampage.
European Rampage for me.
The Chag Team Special.
I'm going to go with Steel Cage, just to give you something to think about.
Because it's a deeper roster, and at the very least you can hear Tatanka's theme. I'm going to say European.
You got
Rampage.
the melody on it, at least.
So that flies through to the quarters, and our next match is Celebrity Deathmatch versus 2K20. That is a weird match.
That's
I'm going to play it back to back after, just to
Sam?
You have a sadist. I'm going to go with Celebrity Deathmatch.
I wanted to give you the choice, but I'm going to go with Celebrity Deathmatch.
Well, I'm going to go with 2K20. I'm more disappointed with her. It is the only fucking wrestling game.
Well, I think with 2K20 is like what we did. At least you haven't got to play the game.
Yeah, but that tells you everything, do it?
I think this might be a sleeper to win the whole tournament coming up next, because you've got Royal Rumble on the Dreamcast versus Legends of Wrestling.
On the Game Boy?
No, just the normal Legends.
The first one. The first one they did.
Because you liked it. That was the argument. I just can't forgive having a Royal Rumble as a concept and not having enough to do a Royal Rumble, so I'm going to say that.
Yeah, I'm going to go Royal Rumble. I mean, the gameplay is better because it's like the Smackdown engine, so it's arcadey and quick. But you can't have a Corby wrestling 3 Roadblocks. It's just annoying me.
Sam, would you?
I'd go with Royal Rumble because, again, as much as Legends of Wrestling the first one, as much as it's annoying, even at the Game Boy Advance, whatever, there's the nostalgia, but at the same time, it's the kind of game I like.
It's got the
and I caught, as you said, I caught except 3 road dogs in a Royal Rumble.
It's got the. This is a big old match coming up. It's got the men on a mission sort of spot at the moment, and the
I at least know this. I haven't got to go back and play it.
Last of the top half is Backstage Assault versus Hulk Hogan's main. Now we got some. This is Brazil.
This is a BT one.
I'm going to go Backstage Assault. You call I mean, the main event didn't have anything before it. That had mayhem, which was brilliant, but it regressed so far. And you ain't got a ring.
Mayhem ain't as bad as you think, to be honest.
And I think had Hulk Hogan not have attached his name, no one would have ever thought to even attach that as anything. They'd have just ignored it in the game.
Should have been Jacques Rougeau's main event.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Backstage Assault just because of.
I think the internet would get mad if Backstage Assault didn't get deep in this.
Yeah. I don't know. He beat a Hogan game.
I mean, Hogan's main event should have got through.
It should have got through. That's 10. I think I've played it, and it's kind of awful.
It'll bring a tear to Jack's eye, but I'm pretty confident I know who's going to get through next. Super WrestleMania versus Backyard Wrestling.
Yeah, but Backyard Wrestling won. We'll go through.
The actual caveat. For me, it's Backyard Wrestling.
So it is for me.
I do like not. Oh God!
Yes, you do.
No, I do not. The Super WrestleMania. And the Papa Shango theme scared Jack as a kid.
I think I know what's going to go through on this one as well, but it's King of the Ring on the snares versus WWF Betrayal.
Betrayal, then.
Betrayal.
It is Betrayal. And into the bottom quarter now, you've got a Super Brawl, WCW Super Brawl, going up against Simpsons Wrestling.
Simpsons Wrestling, Team Wrestling.
Yes.
And then finally, you've got WWF Warzone going up against 5-Star Wrestling.
5-Star Wrestling is awful.
I don't really know that it's that bad, so I'm going to go for Warzone.
It's 5-Star. 5-Star.
It's 5-Star.
Okay. So yes, quarterfinals. Quarterfinals. It's WWF European Rampage Tour Tag Team versus Celebrity Deathmatch.
Celebrity Deathmatch.
I'm going to get European Tour Tag Team Wrestling thing.
I think I'd be more disappointed if I was a WWF fan playing Rampage Tour than I would the random group of Celebrity Deathmatch fans that were playing Celebrity Deathmatch. So I'm going to go for European Tour.
See, that's the problem when you've got non-wrestling
games.
It
feels weird that you hate them so much.
Yeah, because it's like the Def Jam games. If they were shit, but that was the second one was more of a fighting game as opposed to a wrestling.
They were always all right, though. To be fair,
yeah, that was all right, but at the same time, it's like if you market a wrestling game as a wrestling game, if it ain't a wrestling game, if it ain't wrestling, it's very. I've confused myself.
You've confused me. Last of the top quarterfinals is it's a difficult one. It's Raw Rumble on the Dreamcast versus WCW Backstage
Assault. Backstage Assault.
Yes, Backstage Assault.
All day long. Then we've got Jack's boy Backyard Wrestling going up against
Backyard Wrestling 1.
WWF Betrayal.
Ooh.
Now you can make your
Well, Betrayal obviously is worse than Backyard Wrestling.
I think I'll go with Betrayal as well.
And I will as well. I was always going to go with it.
As much as I hate Backyard Wrestling because of Jeremy Kyle's storyline.
I can't believe European Rampage has gone to the semi-finals with these, really.
You've never played it.
I've played it. But the last quarter-final is...
Is that on the thing, is it?
I've got it on me.
Oh, yeah,
I've played it on the internet.
And it's Simpsons Wrestling going up against 5-Star Wrestling.
Ooh.
I'm still saying it's got to be Simpsons Wrestling. I haven't played 5-Star Wrestling,
at least Simpsons Wrestling looked like the Simpsons.
badly.
Five-star wrestling looked like a five-star.
Yeah, but it didn't look like wrestling. And at least 5-star wrestling looked like wrestling. I'm putting through Simpsons wrestling.
What are you putting through?
I'll put 5-star.
I'll put through Simpsons wrestling.
I only put it through because it's Simpsons. At least it's got
it's got Mo.
Yeah, and I don't want to see Rod Mastrio. I'd rather play as Mo and Barney than Rod Mastrio and Stan Van Dimmel.
I could have circled 3 or 4 that I knew was going to get deep in this tournament and never played them. So the semi-final is European Rampage versus Backstage Assault.
Backstage Assault. You knew that was getting through. I told you, it's Backstage Assault is Simpsons wrestling, probably.
Well, I don't know, because it's Betrayal versus Simpsons wrestling.
Oh,
no.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Which one would you rather play?
I'm going to go... I'm going to put through... Oh, God, it is hard, that.
Well, I'm going to choose Betrayal.
It's the worst.
What did the Simpsons wrestling come out on?
PS1.
Just PS1?
No, PS2.
No, PS1.
PS1. Was PS1?
PS2.
Wasn't it?
If that was on PS2, that would have gone through automatically. Oh, I'm going to go with Betrayal.
Betrayal sees
I'm going with Betrayal because it's on Game of Colour, and because you might get that angry, you could at least throw it away if you're walking away somewhere.
And there we go then. So our final is the behemoths of... and I'll tell you for why. Look, the top two that I wrote from the very first... My memory was... Betrayal. The very first one I wrote was Betrayal. And the next one I wrote was WCW Backstage Assault.
With number 3 Simpsons wrestling.
And it's actually worked out that number 1 in the tournament was Betrayal. Number 32 in the tournament was Backstage Assault because I've done it.
Surprise.
So we have got the 2 mega seeds. It's the...
is this the first time that's happened in the wrestling?
Oh, without a doubt. Normally the Wrestlecup sort of throws you down a weird sort of path.
Well, I don't know. The Rampage.
European Rampage.
Rampage was a surprise.
Have you done a review of both of these for our
I ain't done a Betrayal.
On the basis...
Oh, you've done a Backstage.
On the basis that I know you will be reviewing...
I'll do Betrayal.
You'd have to do the review of the runner-up or the winner. But because I think the winner deserves a review anyway, I'm going to pick Betrayal. It's Danny. Yeah, let's leave it to Jack. So, Sam... God, I don't know, actually, because you might say Betrayal or Backstage Assault.
I've been swinging both because Betrayal... I just remember when we was watching like Raw and stuff, and they'd always say sponsored by Betrayal, so they were shoving it down your throat.
Yeah.
And it's shit.
I would imagine WCW was doing the same.
I would assume, because I think a few pay-per-views were sponsored by Daily in 2000.
Neither of these feature a ring.
Exactly.
I'm going to go Backstage Assault.
Oh, there you go. That makes it easy. So, Sam, you've got the deciding vote.
I'll let Sam.
You know what? I'm going to go with Betrayal. I'm going with Betrayal. Purely because there's a bit more... You can pick at least more than 4 people in Backstage Assault.
That's the reason.
As much as I move shit,
fucking Asia and
Betrayal is unnecessary. Backstage Assault, they tried. I think they failed. They failed. They knew we're dying anyway. Let's just do it.
That's true. I suppose WWF Betrayal came out at like the peak of WWF.
Because it come out
state of the company,
2001, 2002,
and it is goddamn awful. So now enjoy your review.
And more than the last wrestling game on the Game Boy Color, and then it went to Game Boy Advance. I think it was around that time, or
WrestleMania 2000 might have been on there. I think.
Enjoy the hours that you will spend trying to complete WWE.
We have actually got it, haven't we?
Yeah, still got it.
So there you have it. At the very least, we could argue the toss over whether it should have been Backstage Assault or Betrayal, but it is a worthy winner at the very least.
Yeah, either one.
There is no doubt that WWF Betrayal is the worst, and it was the top seed in the tournament, so the top seed has seen it off. We will no doubt be dusting down the Wrestlecup in the future. I've got some ideas. Yeah, I've got some ideas of what we can throw out for the Wrestlecup in the future. Maybe a worst 1995 gimmick. Who's going to win?
You have to stick with 95.
Is it the plumber? Is it the bull? Who knows?
It's the magician.
But yes, we will be back with some lovely Wrestlecups in the future. So do join us then. But if you feel that we got the game wrong, let us know what you feel is the worst wrestling game of all time on our Twitter page, which is @BCCPod, on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/BCCPod, and you can check out a review of the winner on our website, which is bettercallcreative.com. Enjoy playing Betrayal. Do you feel betrayed, Jackie?
I do a bit. I thought it definitely should have been Backstage Assault.
You could have released an updated redux of your previous
Excel shit.
That's what you get for making me watch Supreme on my birthday 2 years ago.
I think you should have really gone heavy on Backyard Wrestling series. You love it so much.
I've already done one. It should be back. I ain't posted.
But there you have it, folks. We hope you enjoyed the Wrestlecup. But from Sam Chance himself,
goodbye.
And from the betrayed Jack Chance,
goodbye.
Goodbye, folks.